Hello, everybody. Welcome to the first episode of Tales from the Grid Keeper. I will be your host tonight, and I am the magical Desmond Flynn, also known here on Twitch as Desmo Flynn. And today, joining me is, I want to pronounce it ExxleeStudios or Exxlee?
ExxleeStudios, man, you got it.
Awesome. Is it cool if I call you Rex?
Yeah, dude, go for it.
Awesome.
I'm not trying to hide my identity.
Awesome. So, Rex and I go way back. He actually saw me as I got into my start of Magic, just doing public little things here and there. And Rex recently just informed me that he has been playing D&D for quite some time. And the interesting...
I dabble.
The interesting thing tonight is funny character concepts. What I mean by this is characters that, when you thought about the concept behind them, they were just so random and out there. I've got a ton of stories from back when I was just a player to characters I've seen run in my campaigns as I am now a dungeon master. And I bet you have your share as well.
Well, so I'm the noob here because I've played maybe like 7 games total in my lifetime. And it always seems for me that each time we try to start a campaign, someone moves or there's something happening, and then it seems difficult to get the whole party rolling. And so I always have these like really cool level 1 or, sometimes they'll bump you up to level 5 or something like that. But I've never had the chance to get anything anywhere to the point where they can really do something. It was really just the beginnings of cool stories, but we've made some pretty ridiculous characters. So that's why I'm here.
I'm looking forward to this. So, if it's alright with you, I'll give you a funny character concept I came up with a while back. This would be one of the first characters I actually created.
Oh, cool. Give it to me.
I cannot remember his name for the life of me. At all.
Just call him Jim.
Sorry, what was that? Call him what?
We'll just call him Jim. His name is Jim.
Call him Jim.
Yeah.
I can dig it. Jim was my first introduction into the rogue class. And the thing with him was he was a rogue, but he wasn't good at any of the rogue things. That was his gimmick. That was his quirk. He sucked at stealth. He had terrible sleight of hand. For being a thief, he was a very, very, very bad thief. The thing that made him the funniest was he was intentionally awkward. And he always got into situations that, in nowadays terms, would actually get him killed.
I mean, like, how awkward are we talking here?
He went up to a blacksmith who clearly forges swords and said, "Hey, can I get a sword through you?" And he was like, I could make one for you. And he goes, no, like, could I get one through you? So the blacksmith questioned, what do you mean through me? Do you mean, like, stabbing me? Because if you want to fight, I'm down to Tilly. And then it just went down from there. He always phrased them in ways that seemed like he was challenging someone to a fight. But at the same time, he was generally asking if he could buy a sword from this guy. But he couldn't use the phrase, "Can I buy something from you?"
Why'd you have to make him so awkward?
I needed to have a quirk, and that was the easiest one I could come up with, was always picking fights unintentionally. I liked it. My DM at the time liked it.
Okay, alright. Okay. Well, what other kind of party was it? Like, what, did the character have, like, any... Was he, like, the only awkward person, so he kind of had that lane in the party while you were playing?
Well, he actually had information that was beneficial to the group, but he wouldn't just give it to anyone, so the group... That's how he got into the group, was... the group was a bard, a paladin, me as the rogue, and we had a fighter.
Okay.
And where my character lacked social interaction, the fighter actually took all that, so he was a shitty fighter, but he was an excellent, I want to say diplomat, because his diplomacy was his high skill.
Oh, cool. It's
Yeah.
always something that gets overlooked, I feel like, in campaigns. Like, nah, diplomacy is going to be, like, pretty important. I guess it depends on the campaign, but,
Oh yeah.
I mean, just being able to barter with someone really well, like, diplomacy, charisma, chill a lot of places.
Oh yeah. One thing the fighter was really good at was he would never go into a dungeon looking to fight anybody. He would always talk his way through the rooms. Like legit, he would literally walk in. He would have this massive sword hanging from his hip. He would take it off and just set it down and say, "Here's why I'm gonna get through this room, and I'm not gonna, and we aren't gonna fight and lose any lives over it." And that was what made him good.
Oh, sweet.
The rogue, on the other hand, my guy, total opposite of that. He would try to be diplomatic and be like, what he intended to do was, "Hey, is it cool if we move through this room?" How it would come out was, "We're going through this room whether you like it or not."
Oh, man.
It was a blast and a half. I miss the guy actually. His downfall wasn't as iconic as he was, but and it didn't even happen because of his awkwardness. It happened because he just happened to be in the wrong place at the wrong time.
That's unfortunate. Sorry, I'm actually like, I had my character sheet from one of my campaigns saved on my phone at one point, and I can't for the life of me find it.
What do you remember about the character?
To preface this whole character, one of my friends was he was trying to figure out or create a campaign based off of a very long campaign that they had already played. So I think this camp like they were on the same, not the same campaign but the same kind of world for their for what they were doing for well over a year. So by the time that I had actually wanted to come in with them, their characters from that old campaign were already, I'd say, level like 20 or something like that. And one of them was like a half orc, half elf sort of thing. And I was like, what? He was like, yeah, apparently there's a lot of like internal self hate. I was like, okay. And by the end of this whole thing, he had actually already was able to exist in one of like the seven or one of the nine layers of hell that he had ended up owning. And my other friend ended up creating a lich. Like they
Oh,
went so far into the campaign that he was a lich, and the half orc, half elf thing. Could have been half orc, half ogre, maybe. But, anyways, he was a very small orc. He was only about 6'4" for his size, I believe, or 6'2" or something. And he had an issue with authority. So again, he ended up ruling a whole nine or a whole layer of hell. But anyways, my character, they allowed me to stub in with a level 8 just so it wasn't like too overpowered, and they lowered their characters down by 10, but they wanted to create this campaign within the same world that they had done where we were going to be going in and doing all of these like great battles, and they just wanted to start it off really nice, and I was like, oh my goodness, amazing. So I ended up making a centaur, I believe it was going to be a centaur wizard. um,
interesting.
Very interesting because centaurs aren't normally wizards, but it kind of worked for the campaign. I was also a fairly small centaur. However, I got a little extra running speed from it. I hated talking to people and being around people. I didn't even like my own race. I kind of kept myself held up in um, I guess in my studying all of my books and things like that, and that's kind of how I was able to get up to level 8 by the time that this had all happened, because I was already, quite into my, middle age of being a centaur, and I ended up getting like some really cool gear and all this good stuff, and I was also good with a bow, which was kind of weird, and we were trying to spec me into being like a diabolist. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly, but Some
I
of
would
the
have to look at the word right in front of me in order
Yeah.
to really help with it. But go on.
Yeah. So we tried to spec him into a diabolist, which was some of the prerequisites were quite high. So we had to make a few exceptions for my character, and we ended up adding some backstory. That's why I wanted to pull up the character sheet because I had it all written down. It would have been kind of let's go through it. But anyway, the thing with my guy was he actually wore a pink tutu that he ended up picking up because it was he ended up imbuing it with something or other, and it gave me a little bit of a boost to one of my stats. And I had come very attached to it because it was one of the only articles of clothing other than my robe that I had ever had. So imagine this 6'2" or even like a 6'2" centaur, which would be quite small for a centaur, I believe.
Oh yeah.
Because I mean, I wanted to be about 6'7". They're like, no, we'll make you smaller and faster. I'm like, okay, whatever. So, but yeah, the 6'2", burly-looking old mage centaur person who had like blue, almost like you know when you turn evil in Fable.
Yep. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
get that blue veiny stuff. Yeah, so that's what my dude looked like with a pink tutu.
See, you mentioned the pink tutu, and I think of one of those memes where it's like, if a dog was to wear pants, would it wear it like this or like this? And like,
Exactly.
and I literally I picture it in the weirdest way, as awkward as that comes out. Thinking smart about it, you would probably wear it like a generic tutu. You know, it just goes around the waist, and then you have it just resting on the back half of the centaur, and the rest of it just doing what it normally does. And then you have the other side of that image where it's like all four legs of the centaur in this tutu, and it just goes around the whole body.
We thought about doing it that way, but I think because the character was doing so much study, we ended up coming up with like with the centaur just kind of having it around its abdomen sort of thing before it went to the back, kind of like where the horse would be. The horse portion of the centaur would be. So yeah, that was interesting. Imagine this almost diabolist battle mage looking thing with this like ridiculous evil looking skin running in with some sort of orc god and a lich, and he's got a little tutu on.
Immediately, like, if I was running that character, I'd make sure I was the last person to go in the room every single time. Specifically because it would develop this image of, wow, these guys are about to really mess us up. And then you have this character just running afterwards. It's like, what am I doing? What am I dealing with? And then they're confused. And now you've got the jump on them.
Yeah, just running in and being like, Arasi. His battle cry. That was his battle cry. It was some
beautiful.
Sort of weird,
absolutely
language.
Beautiful.
Yeah. He was also a grumpy bastard, too. Very... Well, obviously, he was evil. He was kind of like... I think he was neutral evil? Yeah, neutral evil. So,
interesting.
Yeah, no, he was a cool character. The pink tutu thing was absolutely hilarious. So, fortunately, we never actually ended up getting to play a full camp together, and then someone ended up moving down to Calgary, I believe, so we weren't able to kind of continue with those characters. But, yeah, it's really cool.
Good times. Another ridiculous character I made. There was this idea going around the internet for a little while called the Amnesia Campaign, where basically you give your players blank character sheets, and as they do specific skills, they slowly regain the knowledge of what their things were and what their characters were all about. And another person I saw took that a step further, and they said, okay, now, DM, as you do this, think of a quirk for your character, or for these characters. And so the funny thing with it was, like, I put, like, genuine character thoughts into these until I got to the quirks. The quirks, I literally hit a random quirk generator on Google, and one of the quirks that showed up for... I was going through, I had a bard that could only speak in rhyme, There was a rogue that...
Classic.
There was a rogue that had another thing to him. I can't remember what that thing was. But then we had a tiefling fighter. And the quirk that I pulled from this random quirk generator was very strongly into ethnic cleansing. And I was like,
oh, God.
This could get bad. So I went with
Very
it just to
bad.
see where it would go. And it was, how can this character get run? They're a tiefling. They're already hated. That's reason enough for this. Let's think about this. What else could possibly go wrong to make this person the way they are? And the person who played the character did a very, very accurate job of, wanting to punish society for the things that they did to their character. So this tiefling started causing shit, and eventually it got into the small... when you start a small fire in the woods, like a campfire, and if you don't take care of it properly, it spreads and you end up with a disaster on your hands.
Absolutely.
The campfire in this situation was the tiefling threw a stone. Someone witnessed the stone get thrown, and the tiefling managed to use charisma to tell everybody, hey, or the person who received the stone, the tiefling pinned the blame on someone else, and basically started them fighting each other. People came in to try and break it up, and then the fight got bigger and bigger and bigger. What finally put this whole thing to an end was the rogue that I mentioned before. They were at a shipping yard, and they had a bunch of parts that were being shipped. So they basically opened up these packages, and there's like, oh, there's parts to a ballista here, and they put together a ballista. All while the town is going crazy and fighting themselves. The rogue fires a ballista through town, kills the tiefling, puts an end to that reign of terror, but the town is still going crazy. I think about that character, and I was like, I would have run it a little bit differently here and there.
Like how?
Personally, I would have been a lot more in the open about it, and I wouldn't, pin the blame on other people. I would have taken responsibility for it, and it's like, you deserve this. This is what you want equality in your race. You're about to get some for what you did to mine, sort of thing. A whole vengeance scheme to it. That was a lot more, I'm going to be right in the brunt of the action compared to, I'm going to start some shit and pin the blame on someone else.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not going to forget that character. That character was actually a really fun run as the dungeon master. Not going to lie.
Man, tieflings are cool, dude.
They are dope.
Yeah, they're so cool.
Oh,
And the horns on the top of their head, like the half crescent moon thing. They look
Top-notch.
like a little devil or like an imp or something, but they're gonna really mess you up.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I should also totally mention, I forgot to hit the start recording thing.
Oh, that's fine.
So now I have to see if I can remember a way to pull this stuff off of Twitch.
Yeah, there's a way. I guarantee it.
There probably is. Funny character concepts. Did you play with any characters that had a nifty little quirk that made them who they were, or
That I had a what that made them who now?
a quirk that helped you put them into certain situations?
Yeah, I had a. It wasn't D&D specifically. I believe it was a Pathfinder game.
Equally as good.
However, I was creating a monk. I like playing monk classes in most RPGs. I think they're really cool. I like the play style and all that stuff. And so anyway, so I created this monk, and I forget which race he was, but it was some sort of bird race. Like I almost looked like an eagle, but in a humanoid form.
The D&D equivalent of that race would be the Arakroka, I believe.
Araroka or whatever it is, yeah.
Yeah, I have.
Arakokra, I think. Arakokra?
I think.
Something like that.
I don't have the books in front of me, so I could not fact check for the life of me right now.
Yeah, absolutely. He was one of the ones that were from, I don't know, oh gosh, what was it? Some of them are from like a different plane of existence, however, not all of them are.
Interesting.
Something like that. Hold on, I'm on. Oh yeah, the material plane. He was, of course, he was one of the classic ones from the world beyond, or however.
The material plane is generally the original plane.
And just yeah,
I know
just
that there is
absolutely.
a cloudy outer plane, which I believe they're from. I'd have to.
Yeah,
I haven't run
something.
any, so I would have to look more into it.
But anyways, he ended up coming into the group because there was a uh, an uprising happening within the story that we're playing, and what we had to do was actually infiltrate the government within the city that we were in and try to end the corruption in the city. Now, I had been a very devout monk, however, due to I believe the ruler of the area increasing taxes and just spending the money frivolously and all of this stuff. Even as a monk, we were still given certain funding and things like that within the city. However, due to the funding, um, we ended up not having enough money to feed a lot of our street population and some of like the the children in the area and stuff like that. And I felt greatly wronged by this whole situation. So I decided to join this band of travelers essentially to help combat all of the corruption within the area. So you can imagine how this monk character would be. And his quirk was the fact that he was really the he hid it from all of everybody. He had stacks of them in his room, and he was obsessed with halfling magazines and things like that. And some of the disdain that he had was due to the fact that he didn't have enough money from collections to be able to go and get the new issue of his magazine that he liked.
Ah,
So that was like 20% of it, and then of course the other 80% was him being devout. Weird scenarios within the game because we'd be traveling down a street and we'd end up stopping for use a little bit too much water for someone, spell someone, they had to get some water from a stream. And then, of course, my character would go off and go behind a tree and whip out a book. And I always, it was the my character ever had a smile on his face. And the second he got back, he was this very stern looking, serious. That was like, and
hold up one
of
second, my
course,
friend.
you can imagine trying. What's
Just
that?
oh, your audio is going clippy.
A little clippy.
Yeah,
Oh no.
yeah, it'll cut out for a couple moments and then it'll hit right back in.
Oh, that's so weird.
It is. It seems to be
Okay,
fine though, but
my apologies.
oh, it's all good.
Okay. Um, okay. Was there anything that I missed then, or anything that you missed?
No, I got a majority of it. Like it was literally doing it through pause moments where it was this that and, like the good points to do it.
Well, that's one of the we've had, and it definitely made for some really interesting situations. I ended up bribing one of the magistrates, I believe, in the area with some of the magazines that I had. I had some older issues,
Yeah.
and we were doing some diplomacy work. And fortunately for me, the magistrate was actually not necessarily a man of the cloth, but he was a believer of the teachings. And of course, because I was a very devout monk from the teaching, I had a little bit of an extra leg up. Because we had a couple of really bad rolls, and we weren't getting the story.
I'm sorry, my friend. We're losing you.
that ended up actually gaining us access to a portion of the castle where we were trying to infiltrate, and it also allowed us to, for one of our, I believe it was our rogue in the group, they ended up actually getting a job working at the castle as a dishwasher, of all things. And of course, because he was a rogue, he was perfect for it. And then because we were able to get in a little bit higher up, so we had kind of like mid-height within, sandwich it and kind of get ourselves in a really good position. But without my character being absolutely obsessed with halfling magazines, we wouldn't have got anywhere.
Interesting quirk.
Yeah, I don't understand why I chose that, but I thought it was gosh darn hilarious at the time, so.
Man, I've got so many really good characters I could tell you about. I had a murder hobo for an assassin. For those who aren't familiar with the term murder hobo is a character that because they're an adventurer, they're homeless, they don't have a home to go back to, but they will go through city after city after city and just murder because they see it fit. Personally, a method I won't condone, not anymore at least. It was an assassin, and the way he operated was he would find stuff on you, and if he liked it, he would take it, and if he couldn't get it off of you while it was on you, he would wait until you went home and he would take it from there. This guy was developed wholeheartedly to be a murder hobo. That was his quirk, was being a murder hobo. And
Pretty big quirk.
Oh yeah, very big actually. And he didn't see anything he liked, but just something called to him and said, "Hey, I want to rob this house." His first mistake was waiting until it was nighttime, and you'll hear why in a moment. I can't remember the exact thing he was looking for in the house. All I know is he wanted riches, and that's what he was going for. So he broke into this house. He went to the basement and noticed immediately stuff was wrong. There was blood everywhere. There was a coffin in the back, or a sarcophagus. And it was just like, immediate red flag, I shouldn't be here. I'm going to get the fuck out. And that's when I realized I fucked up. What he had done was he'd broken into this blacksmith's house for a weapon. I remember it was for a weapon now. He went through, he did his thing. He didn't find the weapon, clearly he found something else that was a much bigger surprise. This character died, lost a lot of really good shit. But then again, the quirk came back to bite him. It turns out that the blacksmith, the reason his area of work is such a shady area, it turns out that the blacksmith is a vampire.
Wow.
Yeah. So he literally sucked the life right out of me. I couldn't hit him with any of my weapons that were on me, but I managed to get my hand on a sledgehammer to hammer him a couple times with it, but I could not. I needed a crit, according to the DM at the time. He told me I needed a crit, but I just couldn't roll the crit. Had I rolled a crit on my last turn fighting him, I would have won and survived and had the character to live and tell the tale. Didn't pan out that way.
Surprise, motherfucker.
Oh my goodness. Well, as a real human being, I would have been absolutely terrified.
Thanks for the host, by the way.
Yeah, dude. Like, well, you know, it kind of makes sense.
Yeah, like, this character was my first actual assassin that did assassin things as well as thievery. So I was very proud of him and very happy with how he turned out. I was a little disappointed to see him go, but it opened up for another character that I wanted to make, which had a very funny death. Which, I'll save that for another episode.
Do you have any character concepts that you wanted to make and couldn't because it was just, like, too bad or too weird?
There is a video on YouTube right now. There is a guy that I would love to have on here at some point. His YouTube channel is Puffin Forest. Okay. Shout out to him. He made a character, literally named him Absurd. And this concept is something I've toyed with several times, and he makes a very good point about it. But the character is a very accurate way of one concept I wanted to do. he made it happen. So I'll actually link to his video at some point on social media. Actually, I'll
Cool, man.
also link it in the chat for anybody who's interested. Because I've got multiple tabs open here.
Dude, tabs are life.
Tabs for life.
If you don't have at least 20 Chrome tabs open on your computer, what the hell are you even doing?
Right?
What about, what about a character that was annoyed anytime that someone said a curse word, but also had Tourette's where he only said curse words when he would have that? I would play the crap out of that character.
I could see that being a thing, and I'm looking forward to it potentially being a thing. In the chat, I just linked to the character I was talking about. The one thing in the link that I would recommend removing is the 46S after the equal sign. Because that'll start you 46 seconds into the video.
Yeah, I want to see the whole video.
Oh yeah. So even if you just click the link and just rewind real quick. Yeah, the character concept is a character I've always wanted to, and he makes a very valid point about how people will do that, and then they'll drop out at like one or two sorts of things. Yeah. Good video, excellent guy. I would love to have him on here at some point.
Or dude, okay, so what about a superhero character? So let's say we're playing like a superhero D&D campaign.
Oh yeah. Those exist.
And when the way that your character getting superpowers, oh dude, never mind, sorry. That would be completely not safe for work. Never mind.
I'm curious now, but if I
yeah, I mean, maybe on a different episode when
maybe with a
18
few
plus or something.
Yeah, some of those warnings.
Yeah. Warning, NSFW content.
Man, I've got so many things to talk about when it comes to that.
I'm gonna be honest. I don't have that many character backstories. Like I said, I've only played a few of them, and of course, I've lots of character sheets.
Oh yeah, same here. Like lots and lots. One thing I will point out, it's kind of off topic, but it's still within the funny character concept. Because I remember one guy actually wanted to play Jon Snow from Game of Thrones, and the twist was...
What is this, M. Night Shyamalan? The twist?
He wanted to play Jon Snow, all the backstory of Jon Snow, all the Night's Watch, all that stuff. But the twist was he gained no combat experience out of it.
Oh, dude, that's so lit. What about, he could have just made him a naked Jon Snow. His character quirk. His character always has to be nude. Hates clothes. Or I can make a character about myself and just put myself into a game, and my character's quirk would be that they hate being wet.
I could see that being a thing. Not very many people know this about me, but I'm super open about it when people talk about it. I hate bards.
Why?
I hate bards.
They could be drugged. They could do cool stuff. They're always playing on an instrument. They have really cool powers.
If I had to play one, I would be more than happy playing one, but I hate them. And it's because
morally? Do you have a moral standing against bards?
No. It's just they can either be really broken depending on the edition you play. Like when I played a bard, it was 3.5, and they were broken as all hell, or at least mine was, and I wasn't happy about it. 5th edition, they really actually toned them down quite a bit and made them suck, in my opinion.
Mm.
Because if you look at the characters, the different classes, you see at level 20 they get something wicked like. The rogue, when they reach level 20, they can take any failed roll and treat the roll as if it was... Excuse me. They could take the roll, no matter how bad it is, and treat it as if it was a 20.
Too broken. It's too OP.
Right? It's one of the reasons I love Rogue in 5e. The big thing with rogues, to me, was... it gave you the sense of being the lone wolf guy when I was younger and just getting into D&D, and I realized how boring that is. And then took it and now I've got rogues at the wazoo that have different backstories. Yeah, there's a couple of lone wolves here and there, but I've got a lot of very charismatic rogues. But bards, I had a bard. His quirk was anytime for him to cast a spell, he had to sing and play the Macarena on a lute.
Oh my gosh.
And depending on the spell, it would have a different effect on the spectators. There was one encounter with a wizard that he couldn't still spell cast, which was one of the feats in 3.5 that you could select was still spell and silent spell, I believe, are what they were called. Basically, all they allow you to do is stand still, and you don't have to say anything to cast your spells. However, I was facing off against a wizard that couldn't still spell, so every time he went to go cast, I would just start playing the Macarena as a counter spell, and his response would be to stop what he's doing and dance to it if he couldn't maintain a concentration check.
That's awesome.
It is awesome, but there's a lot of the memes going around, when the bard rolls a nat 20 and it shows like some powerful musical spell casting stuff. A lot of the times it's accompanied by an image of a Lindsey Stirling music video. Those memes resonate with me a lot because that was how broken bards were to me and how broken they still are. I dislike bards for the purpose of when they are on your team, they are an asset to the team. Facing off against them, you really can't because you've got the bardic inspiration. I've got my player's handbook somewhere around here. I'm not going to pull it up to look at all this. But you have the bardic inspiration, which helps buff your teams. The superior bardic inspiration, which I believe is what you get at level 20. The list goes on. Mm-hmm. They've got a bunch of really crazy shit. I like it. I just hate playing against it. So as a dungeon master, I hate throwing NPCs towards bards. But as a player, I love having a bard on the team.
Yeah, it'd probably make it a little difficult for the DM to kind of figure out what they're going to do in certain situations. Like, hey, there's an endless loop where the bard just keeps making the wizard dance the whole time, and nothing happens. You'd almost have to introduce something, be like, a meteor comes out of nowhere.
Yeah, pretty much. I just thought of a really funny character concept. Do you have any knowledge of 3rd edition or 3.5?
Any knowledge of what sort you cut out there?
Any knowledge of 3rd edition or 3.5?
So I played mostly in 3.5.
Awesome.
For whatever reason, we always went back from like 4th or 5th editions back to 3.5. I think it was kind of like the golden, I don't know, seemed like the golden standard back in the day. We just, that 3.5, even though we still had the other editions to play off, it's like, oh yeah, we'll just play 3.5.
Yeah. 3.5, I like it, love it almost. It was definitely better than 4th edition, hella better than 3rd edition. I prefer 5th edition for its simplicity, but that's just me. But one of the things they had in 3rd edition that was introduced was the coup de grace, or if you're an asshole, the coup de grace, which basically the way it works in D&D is if your character is prone, like say you get hit with a sleep spell,
yeah,
and someone attacks you, they cannot miss. It is an instant kill.
Yeah.
If I was to start up a campaign doing that again, like 3.5, I think I would have a character that only fought if they could use the coup de grace. So they wouldn't.
Sounds like it'd be hard to have set up though.
Here's the thing. Say you have my ideal team, which my ideal team is a fighter, a rogue, a spellcaster, wizard, sorcerer, warlock, whatever, and bard. My ideal 4-person team right there. I'd make this character a rogue for the purpose of the sneak attack, its extra damage, stealth is amazing. The bard and the spellcaster, whether it's a wizard, sorcerer, or warlock, they would need to have the sleep spell. And as long as they aren't fighting like undead or things that are immune to sleep or resistant to it, then they're set for life. Because at that point, you've got the bardic inspiration to make sure it works, the wizard, sorcerer, or whatever casting the spell, and then you have the rogue that just goes up and is like, stab, you're dead. I'd reward some experience for that, actually.
Dude, I would want, I don't know, I mean, druids would be cool. Even though I'd hate it, I'd want a bard. I'd want a monk, just because I'd probably play monk because that's my favorite character.
Oh yeah, monks are broken as fuck.
I love them. And it's and it's D&D, like RPG
You're cutting out, my friend.
is like. Oh, okay, I was like, it might not be the strongest character, but it's they're normally pretty strong and pretty fast and just all around cool. Yeah, I'd have monk, bard, ranger, and a warlock. Because my warlock could summon minions and cast spells and create some meat shields for us. The monk's gonna go in and out because I mean normally they're pretty fast and hit a lot of things with their hands and stuff. The bard would be probably two-hand weapon or something, playing some sort of like bagpipe weapony thing, which would be cool. And then yeah, that'd be my team.
I like it.
I like it a lot.
I think now is a good place to cut to a quick intermission. Just
Cool.
allow me to see if I can find any information. See if so. What I'm thinking after the intermission is we'll come back and we will run off some character concepts, things like that. I would more than happily help create and such.
Okay. I might have to dip out early off of the podcast. My manager just texted me, and now I work tomorrow morning instead of tomorrow evening.
Ah.
Which, man, I didn't have to say yes, but he asked if I could do him a solid, and I was like, okay.
Well, when you
cool.
say I gotta do it, when you ask me if I could do you a solid, I will gladly do you a solid.
Yeah, I just hope I have some sort of kickback from this.
For sure.
But
well, if that's the case, we might have to save this for part 2 of funny character concepts.
Yeah, dude. I mean, like, if we want, we can do it.
I'll plan it out because this is only going to be like a once a month sort of thing. Because I need to make sure that I've got the time off to, plan out and go through a massive archive of D&D characters.
Yeah, I'd also like to have some like character sheets in front of me and see if I can't find some of the other ones because they're saved online. I just need to find them.
So, on that note, to anyone who has tuned in or is still tuning into the podcast, thank you for joining myself, the Magical Desmond Flynn, here on Tales from the Grid Keeper and ExxleeStudios, also known as Rex. If you want to do a quick shout out of yourself, go for it. The floor is yours.
Hey guys, appreciate you having me on the podcast there, Desmo Flynn.
Oh, glad to have you on.
So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, if anyone wants to see what any of my content is, you can hit up my Facebook page at the exact same moniker, ExxleeStudios. YouTube, same ExxleeStudios, and Twitch is also the same at ExxleeStudios. So if you want to watch me stream, you want to watch some highlight videos or general gaming things, come check me out, and hopefully we can get some more D&D content up as well.
Ooh, yeah. Again, thank you for coming on.
Absolutely, man. I love being on here.
Thank you for this has been an awesome debut episode. Maybe next time I won't forget to hit the record button.
Oh yeah, no, we're. I'm gonna make sure that the audio situation is much better next time, and yeah.
Yeah, Rex is a Diablo streamer so far. That's what I've seen, mostly that. Excellent content over there, and you still produce music, right?
Oh yeah, no, I'm currently trying to make sure that I'm producing all my own content.
Nice.
So all of the intros are all gonna any of the logos or anything like that. I'm currently creating myself. Even a lot of the music in the background, I'm also pulling from created and produced myself, popping on in the streams. I'm also trying to make sure I have an initiative to make sure that I'd be saying some of that on.
You cut out right after initiative there.
Punk band. Oh, so, sorry. Yeah, just local producers and stuff that are at the stream and on the YouTube. Local, punk bands and things like that here in the Edmonton scene. Just so, one, I don't get copyright strikes because I have all the artists, and two, just making sure that I'm supporting the community as a whole, because I feel like it's very important, especially small content creators and local bands and things like that. I just want to support their content, make sure that they're getting a leg up on it, and a lot of it's beneficial. So hopefully, other small content creators can pick up the music and start using it as well. So it'd be really cool.
Another shout out that I have to make is at the beginning of the stream, I was playing some music. The music is a friend of mine. His name is Simon Budd. He builds custom guitars here in the Fort Mac scene. So all really good quality, phenomenal sounds. You can actually hit him up on Facebook, SJB Guitars or SJB Custom Guitars. Excellent guy, and his music is just as... in fact, his guitar builds are just as good as his music, if not better.
I'll have to check them out.
Oh yeah. I'll catch you guys next time. Peace out, my friends. And
thanks for having me.
May your futures be adventurous.
'Cause you're not lonely for the run now, for the run now. So go, 'cause you're not lonely for